Hawk TV hosts its live homecoming show. The Bruce Springsteen Archive expands and study tips to help you with the remainder of the semester. All this and more on Hawk TV News. And welcome to Hawk TV News. I'm Alexis Jennings.
And I'm Dylan McGilloway. Thank you guys for having me. My first time anchoring. It's going to be a great time.
It's a pleasure.
On October 21st, Hawk TV produced a live homecoming pregame show. During the show, Dr. Kenneth Womack, Dean of the Wayne McMurray School of Humanities and Social Sciences, was interviewed and gave insight on what homecoming meant to him. Students competed in different games and activities for prizes and promotional items. There was also a sports panel that interviewed professor and play-by-play announcer Matt Harmon and looked over the football season highlights. Alumna Bree Merriman was the musical guest performer, and all proceeds from the event were donated to Feeding South Florida.
Select phone companies are now offering free subscriptions to certain streaming applications. Spotify has announced it will offer Hulu membership for all students signed up with Student Premium. T-Mobile will be offering a free membership with Netflix for all users with 4 or more open lines. AT&T is now also offering an HBO Go subscription for all customers with 2 or more phone lines, and Sprint is offering a 6-month free subscription to Tidal service.
The Bruce Springsteen Archives at Monmouth University just got bigger. Photographs, written works, and other artifacts have been in the archives on loan for the past 6 years. Now, these mementos have been permanently given to university as a gift from the Friends of Bruce Springsteen Special Collection. The goal of the Bruce Springsteen Archives is to preserve and celebrate the legacy of Springsteen's life and music.
With more on Bruce Springsteen, we go to Ryan Sullivan, who has the inside scoop on his upcoming performances.
At a career that has spanned nearly 5 decades, Bruce Springsteen has constantly looked to set the bar higher with new and exciting projects. The next challenge for the boss will be no exception. The 68-year-old rock icon is poised to step foot under the bright lights of the Broadway stage for the first time this month. Following a number of preview performances and the October 12th opening night, Springsteen will perform 5 nights a week through February at the Walter Kerr Theater. The 960-seat venue is certainly a change of pace for Springsteen, who has played at some of the largest stadiums and arenas in the world. In fact, he remarked on his website, aside from the 1 or 2 exceptions, this will be the smallest venue he has ever performed at in the last 40 years. I wanted to do some shows that were as personal and as intimate as possible, he said of the decision to change settings so drastically. Of course, die-hard rock fans and Jersey Shore locals know that some of Springsteen's greatest shows have come at a rather small venue, the Stone Pony in Asbury Park. The Freehold natives' impact on local music and the Pony is immeasurable. One of his first performances at the Pony came in 1976 with Southside Johnny and the Asbury Jukes. The show was broadcast on a Philadelphia radio station and had such a positive reaction from the public that soon people were coming to see shows from the Pony all over the country. In September, Bruce showed that loyalty he has for the area has not faded, as he rehearsed his Broadway show at our very own Pollock Theater here at Monmouth University. The Pollock fits 700 people, so the size of the venue is somewhat comparable to the Walter Kerr Theater. From the Jersey Shore to countries all over the world and now to the legendary stage of Broadway, Bruce Springsteen has always made New Jersey proud. That's all I have for This Week in the Arts. Back to you guys.
Eric Henderson, a 32-year-old man, was arrested after slashing an off-duty police officer. The officer was later identified as Patrick Joyce. The attack took place at 3:30 a.m. October 14th near the corner of Norwood Avenue and High Street in Long Branch. According to the police, the assailant fled to a waiting car after slashing Officer Joyce's in the upper left arm. Joyce was taken to the Monmouth Medical Center where he was treated for his injury. Joyce is returned to work and Henderson is sent to Monmouth County Jail where he awaits his bail hearing.
Midterms can offer a lot of stress and anxiety for students. So for some effective study tips, we go to Hanya Sarsar.
It's no secret that college requires a lot of hard work and studying. It can be a little difficult sometimes learning how to study effectively, but with the right tips and tricks, it can become easier. Today, I'm going to share with you 5 major study tips that become useful to many college students. Tip number 1 is to take good notes. The tip to taking good notes is to write down key points, but not too many detailed information, because then it can become difficult to keep up with a lecture or textbook. I notice that when I make flashcards, I get to focus on key ideas better. If you are worried or anxious about class material, it is a good idea to see your professors during their office hours. Tip number 2 is to stay organized. Keeping a calendar or planner that organizes your homework, events, and activities will help you schedule enough time to study. Tip number 3 is to not cram at the last minute. Putting off studying for exams will probably not help you retain all the information you need for success. However, some students can look at their notes only a few times and feel ready. For me, this is not the case. I like to study a little bit during the week at scheduled intervals so I feel more prepared for exam day. It is also not important to overstudy. It may seem like an unusual thing to say, but sometimes if you study too much, you won't have time for other obligations or actually retain the information you need. Tip number 4 is to find your ideal study environment. For some students, having a quiet room is ideal, while others prefer studying with people around them. Listening to music during studying can work for some people, while others finding it completely distracting. I enjoy listening to calming music because it gets me into a zone to study. Trying different environments will help you determine what is best. Tip number 5 is to take breaks. When studying for long periods of time, it is advisable to take a 10 to 15-minute break every hour or so. During this time, you can relax, walk around, eat, or drink. Breaks are known to help relax and rejuvenate students. Hopefully, these tips will help you develop study tips for college and beyond. That's all for this edition of Tips on the Go. Back to you guys at the desk.
We have to take a short break, but stay tuned for more Hawk TV news.
The Extra Point is Hawk TV's only sports show, and what I love about The Extra Point is that it allows people to really come on and talk about what they're passionate in, and that's sports.
When I first got here, I didn't really know what to expect. It was really a fun time. This is the most fun I've had in college so far. It's really not as competitive as people will think it is. I've been on air for almost every episode of Extra Point.
Unscripted debate is probably the best format for sports shows today, and I think that's what's growing. So more than anything else, The Extra Point just provides people to come on Hawk TV to talk about what they love, and that's sports.
Tony Lynn, what's it like being a producer?
It's so much fun, especially when I get to work with Matt.
You put in a lot of work, try and get your moves right. You want to make the show look as smooth as possible. You don't want choppy zooms in and out. You want to make it look like the camera's not even there. This is my first time at The Extra Point. I'm just saying, I'm coming back now. They've got me hooked.
I control this switcher right here, and I pretty much make the what the director says happen.
Start your move, slowly zoom out, and fade to black. Gorgeous. That is how it's done. We make big TV here. We practice, we execute, we get paid.
Nick, that's all right. I throw a couple of 15-second PSAs in there, and we're good.
Done.
Yeah.
You're done.
The New Jersey Society for the Prevention of Cruelty to Animals is facing claims of being dysfunctional and ineffective. A report by the State Commissioner of Investigation is accusing officers of overstepping their authority, conducting illegal traffic stops, misusing company cars, and violating response procedures. A written record of action is supposed to be filled out within 24 hours of an incident, but police databases are showing up to 75% of the cases took considerably longer, sometimes up to 36 days. The NJSPCA has racked up over $755,000 in legal bills in Ocean County, $100,000 of which was to fight a citizen's complaint for violating public record law. In response to these allegations, New Jersey Senator Ray Lesniak announced he would hold public hearings to reform or replace the organization.
Iraqi armed forces were deployed to recapture disputed territories in northern provinces. These territories have been under the control of the Kurdistan Regional Government. Since they were seized during the fight against the Islamic State, much of the territory captured by the Iraqi army in the 48-hour operation was taken without a fight, pushing the KRG back to its three-province autonomous region. Baghdad has offered to hold talks with Erbil if the KRG hands control over border ports, disputed areas, and airports of the central government in Baghdad.
With the look into professional basketball, we now go to Matt DeLuca.
In what seemed like a reality TV show at times, the NBA offseason proved to be more entertaining than its predictable regular season. 7 All-Stars from 2016 changed teams, with a majority moving west. Jimmy Butler was traded to the Timberwolves, Chris Paul was traded to the Rockets, and both Paul George and Carmelo Anthony were shipped to the Thunder. To add to the Western Conference migration, Paul Millsap left Atlanta to sign with the Denver Nuggets. When you look east, only 2 teams appeared serious to improve their roster. After Kyrie Irving came out and said he wanted to be traded, the Cavaliers sent him to the team they beat in the East Finals, the Boston Celtics. In exchange, Boston traded their lone All-Star Isaiah Thomas along with a few other complementary pieces. To add to the East arms race, Cleveland added vets Dwayne Wade and Derrick Rose, while Boston added Gordon Hayward. Despite all of these moves, the upcoming NBA season still seems just as predictable as the last. ESPN's Basketball Power Index currently lists 4 Western Conference teams in their top 5, with Boston being the lone East representative. The defending champions, the Golden State Warriors, made little to no offseason moves, and yet they sit with the highest BPI out of any team in the league. Their plus 9.4 is 4.3 points higher than the next highest team, the Houston Rockets. So while teams like the Celtics, Cavaliers, Rockets, and Thunder can attempt to move up the league's ladder, there remains one constant. The Golden State Warriors are the overwhelming favorites to repeat as champions. If the NBA season is as entertaining as its offseason, then we will be in for a heck of a ride for the next 9 months. Back to you guys at the desk.
The hit show TRL is making a comeback, and Alexa DeTurris has the story.
As students, we spend much of our time with other students or friends who share common interests. However, during a time where most people do not have to put up with things that don't interest them because of various entertainment news outlets, I still see effort being made to hold on to things of the past. For example, MTV's Total Request Live, better known as TRL, is making a comeback after a 9-year hiatus. After making its return on Monday, October 2nd, it's clear that TRL has been given a few updates in order to keep it timely. Yet I promise you that this Times Square-based show has not missed a beat. Originally hosted by Carson Daly, the reins have been passed to DC Young Fly, who is joined by Tamara Dia, Amy Palm, Eric Zachary, and Lawrence Jackson as rotating co-hosts. TRL's new content creator, Liza Koshy, and the Dolan twins told The Hollywood Reporter that in 2017, it's important to represent the entire culture when choosing the faces of a show. As for location, the TRL revival will take place in its original studio, which has been renovated and expanded, located at 1515 Broadway. A live studio audience will still warmly welcome today's musical guests. Also embracing new technological advances, the network will include a daily live stream on YouTube as well as other streaming services. MTV has made it clear that they will tightly hold on to the request aspect of the show since the title is Total Request Live. So if you're a kid of the 90s and want a blast from the past, I encourage you to check out MTV on weekdays at 3:30. That's it from me, Alexa DeTurris, with your update on the TRL revival.
We have to take a short break, but when we return, we'll have your latest in technology and entertainment. Stay with us.
Hawk TV News, and we've got it covered.
This is Hawk TV News.
This is Hawk TV News, and we've got it covered.
Winter break will be here before you know it, and if you haven't considered a cruise, Cara Chiavarella will tell us why you should.
As someone who has been lucky enough to go on a variety of cruise vacations in the past, I'm here today to give you some helpful tips on how to make planning one as easy as possible. The first few steps you should always take is to figure out where you want to go, when you want to go, and how much you want to spend. To figure out where you want to go, just picture what you see yourself doing on vacation. If you see yourself spending time in nature or having an adventure, an Alaskan cruise could be ideal for you. If you see yourself relaxing, doing water activities, or eating great food on your vacation, then a Caribbean or Mediterranean cruise may be what you're looking for. Picking a destination as your first step will help you when it's time to pick the sail away date. To figure out the best time to go on your cruise, I recommend looking at the weather in past years for the destination you plan on going to. If you want to cruise to Alaska, the best time to go will be any time from June through August, so it won't be too cold. To avoid hurricane season in the Caribbean, the best time for a cruise is from February to mid-April. And the best time to go on a Mediterranean cruise is from May through September. Whichever destination you end up choosing, it is always best to research the ports of call before embarking. This will ensure that you visit the safest and best places that destination has to offer once you step foot off the ship. To save money when booking a cruise, I suggest that you contact the cruise line directly instead of booking through a travel agent. Not only will the cruise line often be able to give you a better deal, it will typically be more knowledgeable when it comes to giving you more accurate information on the specific ship that you are traveling on. Also, in terms of saving money, inside staterooms located on the lower decks are the cheapest rooms to book. However, if you have a little more to spend on your vacation, I recommend a room with a balcony on a higher level, close to the center of the ship. A room in this location will have the least amount of rocking and will give you one of the best views on the ship. Well, that's all the cruise tips I have until next time. Happy cruising, and back to you guys at the desk.
Irish singer and guitarist Ed Sheeran canceled numerous tour dates after a bike accident left him with a broken right wrist and a left elbow. He released the news of his injury on Instagram and that he'll be canceling tour stops in Taipei, Osaka, Seoul, Tokyo, Hong Kong, and he'll be waiting for additional medical advice before booking any more shows.
A new study has found that plasma technology could be the key to creating a reliable oxygen supply on Mars. When energy is supplied to a gas, it is ionized, and the energy-rich state becomes plasma, the fourth state of matter. Since Mars has a 96% carbon dioxide atmosphere, it has ideal conditions to create oxygen from CO2 through a process known as decomposition. Decomposition is the split up of a molecule into a carbon monoxide and oxygen. Plasma technology research is growing partly due to issues of climate change and generation of solar fuels.
With the push to get more people to Asbury Park Boardwalk year-round, developer Madison Marquette created new designs for both the 4th and 5th Avenue pavilions. The plans include new restaurants, commercial space, and updated versions of existing retailers. The 4th Avenue Pavilion will get a rooftop deck with ocean views, while the 5th Avenue Pavilion will get a new rooftop entertainment venue that can seat 250 people. The redesigned plan was recently approved by the Asbury Park Planning Board, and work is scheduled to be completed in the summer of 2018.
On October 17th, rapper Jay-Z hosted a benefit relief concert at his home arena, the Barclays Center in Brooklyn, New York. For more than 5 hours, Jay-Z was joined by nearly 40 actors, acts, specific guests included his wife Beyonce, Jennifer Lopez, Cardi B, T.I., DJ Khaled, and closed by the legendary Stevie Wonder. Around 20,000 fans showed their support for all who were affected by the disaster in Puerto Rico. The Jay-Z-owned streaming service Tidal teamed with the New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's Empire State Relief and recovered efforts to send goods to Puerto Rico. After fundraising for donations and holding multiple donation drives, Tidal announced that 50,000 pounds of goods were shipped to Puerto Rico. Tidal also arranged for 3 separate planes to be sent to San Juan and Aguadilla. The jets carried water, solar lamps, diapers, dry food, wipes, shoes, and much more to those in need.
We have to take another short break, but then we'll return with an exciting recap of Mom Sports with Matthew DeLuca.
It's time to join forces. Get energized and fuel up right. Because starting today, every kid in America has a mission. Bring out the action hero in you. Be part of the greatest action movie ever. The first movie that puts you in the action. Show us how you train and eat like an action hero. Join in at actionheroalliance.com.
A boy born in Joplin, Missouri was fascinated by anything with wheels and a motor. The odds of him winning both the Daytona 500 and the Brickyard 400 in the same year, 1 in 195 million. The odds of a child being diagnosed with autism, 1 in 88. I'm Jamie McMurray, and my niece has autism. Learn more at autismspeaks.org/signs.
The smallest moments can have the biggest impact on a child's life. Take time to be a dad today. Call or visit fatherhood.gov to learn more.
Hey guys, let's take a look at what your Hawks have been up to. The women's soccer team clinched their 5th straight MAC regular season title, defeating Fairfield 2-0. Gabriela Cuevas opened the scoring in the 29th minute, and the Hawks doubled their lead in the 71st minute off of a goal by Dana Sheriff. Goalkeeper Amanda Knobb registered her 10th shutout on the season, which leads the conference. Monmouth followed with a 2-1 overtime victory at St. Peter's. After falling behind early, the Hawks scored right before halftime on a goal by Leanne Davis. Score held throughout regulation time, and Maddie Gibson scored in overtime to give the Hawks the victory. Monmouth improved their record to 12-3-2 on the season and 9-1 in conference play. The Hawks traveled to Florida to play in the 2017 MAC tournament, where they will play the winner of Niagara and Canisius. The football team ran past Liberty 56-39 in the school's 25th annual homecoming game. After allowing an opening drive touchdown, Monmouth responded with 3 straight touchdowns of their own and never looked back as they cruised to victory. Freshman running back Pete Guerrero carried the ball 18 times for 162 yards and 1 touchdown. He also had a 95-yard kickoff return for a touchdown in the first quarter. To add to their success on the ground, freshman running back Eric Sikori rushed for 18 times for 193 yards and 2 touchdowns. The team has now won 4 straight games, improving to 6-1 overall and 1-0 in conference play. Monmouth hopes to continue their success as they travel to play Charleston Southern. The men's soccer team defeated St. Peter's by a score of 3-1. The Peacocks would open the scoring in the 5th minute, but they were shut out after that point. Sophomore Donovan Pollock tied the game at 1 8 minutes later, and freshman Inez Merkulik gave Monmouth the lead late in the first half. The Hawks were able to seal the game away in the 68th minute as senior Jake Arman scored his 3rd goal of the season. Junior goalkeeper Bobby Edwards made 4 saves in the contest. With the victory, the Hawks improved to 5-8-2 on the season and 4-2-1 in MAC play. Monmouth looks to continue their success as they travel to play Fairfield in their next game. The field hockey team topped Siena by a score of 9-1 in Lauderdale, New York. Monmouth scored 2 goals early, both coming from freshman Tamar Klinkhammer, and added 2 more to make the halftime score 4-0. In that first half, the Hawks outshot the Saints 13-0. Monmouth rattled off 5 straight goals in the second half before Siena was able to snag one late. Junior Kelly Hanna registered a hat trick, increasing her season goal total to 12. With the victory, the team has won 3 of their last 4 games while outscoring their opponents 25-4. Monmouth increased their record to 12-3 and 3-1 in conference play. The team will travel to Rhode Island to play Bryant University in their final regular season road game. That's all we have for sports for you today. Stay up to date with your latest in sports. Tune into The Extra Point right here on Hawk TV. Back to you guys at the desk.
That's all for this week's episode of Hawk TV News. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alexis Jennings.
And I'm Dylan McGilloway. Please sure to tune in next time for another edition of Hawk TV News.
So M Factor is basically a take on X Factor. So we have performers either just with their music or they have their guitars or pianos. It's basically a talent competition. One person gets voted off every week. We try to do different themes, and I think the season's been going pretty well. We have a really great act, and I can't wait to see what next week brings.
My name is Christopher Sabatino. I'm the director of tonight's program. So basically I just look at the monitor here and see which camera shots look good, and while I'm looking at those, I decide which ones to go do. Then I tell the technical director who sits in the chair over there which cameras to cut to.
Are you working the Steadicam tonight?
I am.
What does that entail?
It entails a lot of steady hands and a lot of watching my back so I don't run into Dylan. He's on the other camera and he likes getting in my way. Back camera away. Back off away. Starting up, you guys all ready?